biodiversity. Now, I'm going to give you some statistics very quickly. The rapid loss of species we're seeing today is estimated by experts to be between 1,000 and 10,000 times higher than a natural extinction rate. A low estimate is that there are around 2 million different species on our planet. That means between 200 and 2,000 extinctions occur every year. Whoops. The upper estimate, the greatest percentage of scientific occurrence, that there are 100 million different species coexisting with us on planet Earth. And if you take that upper estimate, then between 10,000 and 100,000 species are becoming extinct every year. Since climate change appears to be making things a lot worse, studies indicate that we could lose up to 75% of all life on Earth within 220 years. NBC News recently reported, if climate change makes things a lot worse, well, I just said that. I just want to emphasize that, sorry. Now, how does that affect us as biologists? And that's what I wanted to hand out to you. Many of you have this. Studies have shown, and one of the articles I've given you, well, you could read it later, that we, like war veterans or policemen, we suffer from doing this job, especially as we get older. Depression, anxiety, anger, and even post-traumatic stress disorder. I spent hours over the weekend trying to find an article by the Journal of American Psychology where they actually published the syndrome called conservationist syndrome. And why am I bringing this up? Well, it's become one of the most depressing of the sciences, as quoted by James Shepard, because of, constantly running into bad news or having to deal with bad news, no matter where you live in the world. Few conservation scientists are not just trying to save species from extinction, but also working to save their field, their life's work, from slipping into despair. I was born and raised in the Hawaiian Islands, and I watched extinction all the time. And it's like losing your pet every month. That's one of the reasons I left. It just killed me. Now, don't worry, I'm not trying to depress you. It's going to get better. Now, how does that, affect us? Well, there's a pervasive culture of negativity and conservation. And that will risk attracting only personalities like us that are overly pessimistic instead of a healthy mix. That's not everybody, but instead of a healthy mix of hope and pragmatism. These pessimistic types will, drive the culture of conservation further towards despair and, encourage more pessimism. Somebody brought up yesterday the children, the future, okay? There aren't a lot of young people in this room. A lot of young people shy away from biology and conservation. Why isn't everybody screaming when the news is reporting all this bad news? They feel hopeless. What can I do? Boy, that's depressing. I don't want to do this. I think that's a lot of the problem. And this is what I want to talk to you about this morning. And, you could read that. But, so there's a lot of bad news. You could feel it yesterday. How are we going to do this if the governments don't listen? Well, there's a lot of people in the government, I've worked for the government, that really want to make a difference, but we usually get in trouble for doing that, don't we? And the way we're going to change things is to get non-biologists, non-environmentalists, like school teachers, engineers, construction workers, anybody else, to understand this is important and why. So what can change and help? There are many ways to bring hope back. without ignoring these massive challenges. This would include sessions and workshops like this, which I was hoping would be a little bigger in turnout, and talking about more success stories, okay? Now, we're talking to each other as peers, but we need to go out and talk to people who are not our peers, okay? And explain to schools, business symposiums, events that are not tailored just towards people like us, and tell them what's going on in the world. There is good news, and we need to share it more. We need to give statistics and examples. Each one of us can go out and lead a nature tour. There's a lot of places that have trails, and there's nobody there. They have nature, they have people who volunteer, but they don't have the knowledge you all have, okay? You could pick a one day, and they'll put it in their email or newspaper or whatever, internet. And I've had up to 100 people show up for a field trip, non-biologists. And I could reach those people. So can you. Get creative. Use the internet. Write. Tell your colleagues what we need to do. We need to appear optimistic, lose attitudes. Some of us have attitudes of anger. We're better than everybody else because they're all idiots. I'm guilty of that. I get so angry at my government. Contributing to a world or local conservation group or magazine, people will say, well, what can I do? I work as a waitress. Well, you could send $20 to the World Wildlife Fund. You get a magazine, volunteer one day to help out at Red Rock Park. You get what I'm trying to say here. Wildlife gardening. During migration, loss of habitat is everywhere. You might put up an owl box or trees that provide berries for the winter during migration. There are things non-scientists can do. Bird watching, political activism. You don't need to know what we know to tell our idiots in Congress or your country what you want. And we have to make the government fear us. Right now, all they care about is the money they get from corporations. We call them lobbyists in the United States. And it's basically a legal way to bribe U.S. Congress people to vote against environmental things so they could drill, mine, log, overfish. Okay, and educating and spreading the word and urgency to friends, and especially children. Art, writing, tree planting. I think you get the picture. Again, donate money to conservation groups. There's specific ones, there's general ones, some to save the tiger, others like, Marine Mammal Center or, legal organizations. Instill in all people that we rely on biodiversity for our literal survival as humanity, whether it's the cute polar bear, coral reefs, rainforests, without forgetting the importance of the not-so-charismatic life forms such as salbugs, western toads, cloud rats in the Philippines, a tree fungus. We must educate people that every life form is a rivet in the airplane on which we are flying. You notice I use planet Earth in the corner here, okay? The Population Bomb was a book written by Paul Ehrlich and his wife Anne, very popular. And in his book, he basically said, the simple way to tell people who are not scientists who cares about a bird or it's only a rat or bug, okay? If you're riding in an airplane and you take a couple of rivets out of that airplane, not too worried, you're still flying along. You start ripping thousands of rivets out of that airplane, like thousands of species going extinct on Earth. You're going to start feeling the airplane shake, feel temperature changes, right? Sound familiar? there's going to be indications something's not wrong. Well, eventually, so many rivets are going to come out of that airplane. And I think part of the problem is some people really don't believe this. There goes the airplane. And we are right here, and I think we're about to start burning and smoking. So I'm asking everyone, remember, it's not just us. We will not succeed unless we talk about biodiversity in non-scientific terms, in a way that is attractive or pleasant to people. And we have to let them understand, well, that's not my job, or you can't do something. Well, I'm not a biologist. That's what these morons in Congress say in the United States, right, about global warming. I'm not a biologist. That's right, so shut up and listen to the biologists, okay? Well, it doesn't work that way. But basically, remember, you don't have to be a biologist, okay? If a rattlesnake comes in your yard in Las Vegas, you don't have to kill it. Ooh, it's going to eat my children. No. If you do something stupid, yeah, it might bite you. Get across to people. If you see a tortoise crossing a road, it's not fun to swerve so you can run it over, or you get the picture. So, and I think that's really key because all of us worldwide share the same knowledge. And actually we share more than that feeling, okay? Whether it's sadness, helplessness, anger, also hope. And we know what we can do. So let's do it, and let's go forward positive. When we're together, we could talk about those dumb idiots over here in the government or, the corrupt oil companies. But when we're out there in the lobby or out at a talk or, party or whatever, we have to be different, or we're not going to get that help. So if you want to read the article, it's very interesting. You could look up conservationist syndrome. They're treating people in the United States for it. I should be one of them. And it's okay. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be upset. And we're there for each other. We know the truth. A lot of people don't. But we have a job, and I'm just asking everyone, do it, and please don't give up. You're not alone. Thank you.